So hi guys, we have Dr. Nilesh Kumar and Mr. Christopher and Mr. Milan. We've got a very beautiful panel here. He represents India, he represents APAC, and he represents Go Global. So we'll be getting a very good perspective on how the global market is shaping up and how India is, catering to the global market and how India is building the kind of requirements, raw material requirement it has, right? So, Dr. Nilesh, just to start with, give us a brief in terms of what is it that your company does and where do you, how do you, like, how is your product or your offering different from all the competitors which are currently available in the market?
Yeah. So if you talk about electric vehicles specifically, so first maybe I'll start with our company, Envalior. So Envalior is a global leader in space where we are in engineering materials, whether it is with automotive industry, whether it is electrical and automotive, electronics. So all these spaces where we have our solutions. Coming to India, for electric vehicle, when we talk about electric vehicle, there are a few things which are very much important. We have seen that in India, whether it is two-wheeler or four-wheeler, there are always some challenges with some flammability.
Right, true.
Then there is always a consumer which is always asking about in India, kitna deti hai, right? So that's where the range is
Right.
coming where
True.
important. And electric vehicle itself was born for sustainability.
True.
So these are the three main topics.
Right.
Now what we offer here is how we can make these vehicles safer,
Right.
lighter, and more sustainable.
Right.
These are the three main things on which we are working on. And as we are striking a good balance of all these with the solutions which we are bringing into the market,
Right.
I think this is where we are differentiating from the rest of the pack.
Great.
This is what we believe. And when I want to go a little bit one step deeper, when we talk about safer,
Right.
the materials which we have, which are, let's say, flame resistant at even lower thicknesses.
Right.
So that means it is lighter
Right.
when it is lower thicknesses, but also it is safer because it is helping to arrest the flames.
Right.
And of course, when it is both of these things are taken care of, then it is more sustainable as well.
Right.
And when it is more sustainable, if we also look at our offerings, we have a lot of offerings which come from, let's say, recycled fishing nets,
Okay.
coming from the castor oil, castor beans, then coming from waste or used oil.
Right.
So all these things are giving us a differentiator as a differentiator
Right.
as compared to the rest of the
Right. Since you mentioned about the fire safety, just correct me if I'm wrong. Does it reduce the cost of additional insulation on the material because your material is used? Does the OEM or the battery manufacturer avoid putting additional insulation to?
So for if you talk about the flames which are coming, so it's not just about material, right?
Right.
So it's about the design of the engine, which we can call,
Right.
which is a battery.
Right.
Then how the thermal management is done, how the temperature which is built up is
Right.
also dissipated. So it depends on quite a few aspects.
Right.
It's not just about the material, but when the material itself is good enough for the safe operations,
Right.
then at least one of the headaches of the
Safety,
OEM is taken care of.
True, true.
This is what I can say.
Right. And I also saw, so even in the structural components, you've added the plastic material. And that is one of the major safe, it is directly connected with the strength of the vehicle, right? So is the material science developed enough in India and also sir, globally so that that it can be integrated with the metal structures and it can give you the same firmness and strength in the vehicle? Especially in India, you know that the vehicles are exploited a lot.
Exactly.
So does it have that durability and is it at that level, the technology in lightweighting?
So I will take this question little differently first, right? Since beginning, I feel that automotive industry was always conservative. So if you need 50 as your strength or whatever,
Right.
automotive industry went with 150
Right.
to make sure that it is always, there is a huge factor of safety.
There's a buffer,
It is,
yeah.
as a buffer
Right.
which is required. Now, as the industry is getting matured, as there is a more need of all those three things which I mentioned, and economics is also involved in that.
Right, true.
That is where this more and more innovation is coming in.
Right.
Now, there is there are a lot of parts which have already moved from metal to plastics.
Right.
Now, in structural component, immediately going from metal to plastic sometimes is difficult for people to understand, right? And accept it.
Right.
This is where these hybrid structures are coming.
Right. Right.
And with the technologies which we have developed globally as well as over here, right? This is where we are at a level right now. With these hybrid structures, with the technologies which we have, we are able to suffice the requirement of whatever strength and modulus and everything which is required.
Right.
Now you talked about use and abuse of the things, right? Now, indeed, first thing is, this is a technology which is very widely, I would not say widely, but accepted in other parts of the world, which is now being accepted, or people in India are able to accept it.
Right.
And again, they would like to put some factor of safety for sure.
Right.
But I think it is coming there.
Right.
I'm sure that it is coming there soon.
Right. Sir, now moving on to you. Looking at your expertise in understanding the APAC region, right? What difference do you see in terms of mindset and acceptance from the OEM side towards these kind of material? Let's say in the APAC region versus India. All the other countries in the APAC region versus India. Is there a huge difference in terms of the mindset?
In terms of metal replacement, or in terms of
material replacement,
replacement.
Like metal to plastic.
There are differences, of course. If you compare, for example, Japanese, Korean, Southeast Asia, Chinese or Indians, there are huge differences. Some tend to be more conservative and ask for references and so on. And some tend to be more advanced into exploring new technologies. For example, we have, especially with local OEMs, good experience that they are willing to go into new development on their own, with main factor being actually weight reduction, cost reduction, and safety.
Right.
When we're talking about weight reduction and metal replacement, there is some misconception that you can simply replace metal with plastics.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't work like this.
Okay.
You need a different design.
Right. True.
You need to understand the boundary conditions which OEMs put into the place, because today everything is getting smaller, space is getting smaller, but requirements are getting higher and higher.
Right.
So there is another big advantage of plastics being considered for metal replacement, which is combination or integration of functions.
Right.
For example, plastic part injection molding, you can in one molding shot, one production shot, make the whole piece, versus metal where you have melding, metal stamping, inserting screws and so on. So this is where Envalior has definitely cut-edge, second to none experience. All our proposals are stringently tested in our own facility. We have state-of-the-art simulation methods where we simulate, first of all, production of the parts, and secondly, very important, function of the parts versus expectation from OEM. Once we do that, once we have a prototype, we also have our own part testing center where we actually test actual parts. And Envalior is in APAC the only one who has that, as far as we are aware. So with this, we actually shorten the customers, the OEM's development cycle, helping them to develop first time, right time, and bringing their products faster to the market. Of course, by this making them more competitive, improving their productivity, because we know polymers, we know our materials, we know design. So with the build trust we actually have excellent examples or very smooth, very advanced cooperation, very new ideas, new what people today maybe not thinking of possible metal being replaced with plastics. Of course, there is certain confidentiality on this. But to come back to your question, India is catching up pretty fast, and we have actually some of the first worldwide, some of the applications actually being developed and being worked here in India.
Nice.
So this is a good
and what is the reason
of
behind
India being agile and accepting that technology.
Right. And what is the reason behind all these, let's say, component and material players now? They've started to invest in India for manufacturing. Is it that the skill set has improved in India? Is it that the government support is more better that you've seen as compared to other countries in APAC? That the international companies, component players and material players are choosing India to develop their manufacturing facility. So what has changed in these 5 years? That you've seen, and I would love to have a global perspective on this as well. So what change have you seen in India because of which the companies are ready to put up their?
I think this is a combination of couple of factors or a couple of changes. First of all, India has become now number 3 or 4 automotive market in the world.
Right.
3 or I think number 3,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. So this already clearly underline relevance and importance of India market.
Right.
Second, without touching too much politics, but everybody knows that the India government in last number of years have been very supportive in promoting development
Right.
and manufacturing in India. That of course
Right.
has also given impact. Also on geopolitical stage, company like to invest in India, which is the largest democracy in the world.
Right.
Skilled labor force is another thing.
Right.
And then again, development of India automotive industry itself and the automotive market has been a main driving force behind
Right.
it. And having that development on one side, and having on the other side facilities, know-how, and technology which Envalior has.
Right.
This is of course logical step. Logical solution for us to be very much focused in India.
Right.
And very much supportive this trend and actually leading this trend and evolution of India automotive and
Right.
the whole supply chain in India.
Right. Thanks a lot. So, taking your perspective and your experience in the global market, you must have seen the diversity or the differences in terms of OEM requirements in different countries and different regions, right? And you need a lot of flexibility in terms of agility in terms of catering to those different requirements from different regions in the world. So, is there a certain, let's say, operational steps that you take to make sure that you are able to cater to these requirements based on the regional requirements? How do you go about this challenge, and how do you work on it?
Okay, then maybe I will answer your question taking the angle of innovation, right?
Yeah.
When you look into Envalior, we basically boast a very global hubs in different regions. We have
Right.
presence in terms of innovation to make sure that on the one hand, we offer global solutions to meet
Right.
global standards. And at the same time, we are able to capture the needs and specifics of the local markets, right? And
Right.
this is how we address that. How do we do that? Very, very simple. We basically make sure that we offer material selection know-how, application know-how. We transfer know-how from different regions to make
Okay.
sure that everybody benefits from what's the trends that are developing in different
Right.
markets.
Right.
And we bring that basically and see and adjust to the extent of the local needs. Yeah.
Right.
So material again, application, we go into simulation. That's an important part
Right.
of what we offer to customers in
Right.
terms of being able to reduce by design and testing time to
Right.
bring development
Right.
in action in the market. Yeah, that's basically how we
Right.
do that.
Right.
And that, as said, we do globally as well as locally. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
very important for us.
And since you also mentioned about the delivery timeline,
Yeah.
which is a very important factor these days because the vehicles are getting launched very
Yeah.
quickly. They're sort of like the vehicles are getting launched at the similar speed the way new mobile phones are
Almost.
getting launched. Almost, right? So you need that speed and agility in the whole supply chain.
Correct.
So because of your let's say expertise in this material and know-how of different regions, I think you are able to do it. So are there any challenges in any region globally wherein because I'm pretty sure not in every region the vehicles are getting launched at the similar pace. Which country would you say that they are launching their vehicles and new designs very frequently, and that is where your team is always active to make sure that they are on their toes to provide the material quickly. So which country would you?
I would say
name?
I would not necessarily rank the countries, comparing them to one to the other, because at the end of the day, they cater to the needs of their domestic market
right.
and they do some exports, right? So they expose to different pace
Right.
depending on where they place their offering, right? So I would not necessarily see differences that would be structurally putting problems or stress on the supply chain.
Right.
But as I said before, if we now look into Envalior's manufacturing, you see that on this very nice poster here. We have 3 manufacturing sites here in India ready to basically deliver what the market needs, either for the domestic needs and or for the export, right? So that's also very important that we think global and act local, also in manufacturing, how we handle supply chain, material flow, and these kind of things to make sure that we are there where our customers need us to be able to accelerate the launch of their vehicles.
And I'm also curious to know. So India is always known as a price-sensitive market, right? And because of this, there are a lot of innovations that come out. Because you need to stick to the price, get a better design out in that price. So has it ever happened that any sort of innovation that has happened in India because of pricing has globally also helped you to get that innovation globally, and it is getting accepted? Has it happened in your?
I will take one simple example. We discussed before sustainability, and I will bring sustainability and innovation together. We started some years back basically recycling fishing nets to put that in some of our products basically and bring that to the automotive. It was used in different applications in automotive as well as in consumer electronics, right? This innovation, combining innovation, material innovation, and sustainability started here, right? So to your question, yes, we have brilliant examples and we are multiplying those examples and bring that to the rest of the world.
Great. I think we've had a great discussion. Thanks a lot for your time. It's been amazing to interact with all of you.